heavy-duty off-road vehicles to work out there. So it's 34 degrees outside. We're a few hundred feet above sea level, so I keep losing suction cups. My goodness, who's next? Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Kia Sorento X Pro SX Prestige. Yes, the top trim of Kia's 3-row crossover is now off-roadified with the new X Pro trim introduced with the facelift for the 2024 model year. What has this been like to live with, not off-road? And would I get this to replace what we used to drive in our 2014 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk? All that and more. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, the first thing I want to do on this very cold January winter day here in East Texas is thank Kia for bringing me this vehicle to test for a full week for you here on the channel. Full disclosure, I did say in the intro this was a 2025. Well, that's not true. This particular one is a 2024 model with nearly 15,000 miles on the odometer. So we're going to talk a little longevity of this one as we get into it. But I do want to thank Kia for bringing me this one to test for you. Not much has changed for 25 outside of the price. Yes, inflation means the price of this one is $45 less than a comparable 2025 model. But for all intents and purposes, for the tour of this, it is a 2025 model. And with that, I do want to talk about what motivates this one, because I really like this powertrain, and I wish Kia and parent company Hyundai put it in more of their vehicles. And I wish they had struts holding the hood up on this one. But the powertrain in this particular model is Kia's very good turbocharged 4-liter. It's a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, making 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed wet dual-clutch automatic transmission with torque vectoring all-wheel drive and a center locking differential, which basically means you can just lock it into all-wheel drive mode, and fully independent suspension on this one. I will go ahead and talk off-road performance numbers right now because no, I won't be taking this one off-road. 8.2 inches of ground clearance, 18.4 degrees of approach angle, 21.7 degrees of departure, and no listed breakover angle on this. So there you go. There is your performance review of this one, or at least the stat sheet. We will talk more about this powertrain when we get into it. But yeah, I really do like this 2.5 4-cylinder. Prop rod notwithstanding, I really do like what Kia has done up front here. With this Sorento, we get the new Kia logo, which we actually saw on the pre-facelifted version. But this new grille, new headlight system, that really does remind us of the new 2025 Carnival, which we've already tested here on the channel. We get the LED star map lighting, LED headlamp units, and this reconfigured opposites attract tiger nose grille. You can see we also do have LED fog lights down here. I really like the way it all works together, and this look has grown on me, even if perhaps, maybe, I think the pre-refreshed version looks a little more rugged. I don't know, style's in the eye of the beholder. But with these amber running lights now, all Kia models now have amber running lights, a new signature of the brand. You can see coming to me at 5'10", I've got plenty of room underneath it, so I like that a lot, and it does close rather quickly when you push the button. Before we climb into this one, I do want to show you the key. It's Kia's new style key, first seen on the updated Telluride and Cane EV9. You can see we have remote start there, your lock right there, unlock, and your hatch button, as well as a panic button right there. It is a proximity key that you can keep in your pocket, your purse, wherever that strikes you. You can see when the vehicle is locked, the mirrors fold in, but as you approach the vehicle, they extend, and then you can unlock it passively by grabbing the front door handles. that is not on all four, unfortunately. You can also lock it just by pushing that right there, and that will power fold your mirrors back in. But let's get in out of this frigid cold into this olive brown leather interior. You can see all of our mirror controls are surrounded in gloss black. We do have 2-person memory seat for the driver, and then some storage up here and down here in the doors with a nice design pattern on the doors as well. We get multi-way positional seat with a power thigh extender and 4-way lumbar. Lots of controls on these seats. Yes, I did say olive brown leather. So these are leather trimmed seats. You can see the X Pro embossed there on the seat back, but I can take it no longer. I must climb in. It is so cold. My seat, as I close the door, does pull up closer into my preferred driving position. It does scoot back to let me out easier. And then I'll put my foot on the brake and push the engine start button right here. We'll go ahead and say it was in the 50s yesterday. It is in the 30s now, so I'm getting all kinds of warnings, including low tire pressure, just because, yes, just all of a sudden some cold weather came in, and so we were getting that low tire pressure warning right there. Ice possible. Like I said, all kinds of warnings going on up here, but oh, it's getting so nice, warm, and toasty in here. I do like this two-tone steering wheel, and we'll go ahead and say it is heated, which I like, as are my seats, which I like. So I'm going to get all warm and toasty. My poor frozen hands. You can see, yeah, I need to go home and put some lotion on. But we will start over my left knee here on some of our controls. We have traction control, your hatch release, and your brightness control for your twin 12.3-inch fully digital screens behind the steering wheel, which I do like. And you can see they're using the new Kia UI. I will show you, this is the new kind of design for the screen layout, but I do also want to show you you can go to a more traditional screen layout here with analog versions of the speedometer and tach. But I do like this just a little bit better. It's a little easier to read, especially since we don't get a head-up display on this model. Just having a quick view of what your speed is digitally, not having to look at an analog. I like it a little bit better. I do have this large 12.3-inch screen here. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but as I am filming on my phone right now, we will have to wait until I'm actually driving to show you how that works. We do have one more screen up here. The camera is actually outside the vehicle, so if you've got a lot of road grime coming up behind you on a really disgusting day, perhaps this camera will get overrun, but you can see we've got a decent view out of the back window if those rear headrests are down. But rear view camera mirror right there, I like that a lot. I do like those screens there, but that's not where the screen usage ends, because I will complain about it here as I do in all Kia products that have this. Pre-refreshed models, that means 2020 to 2023 models, do not have this. I would almost recommend an older version over this, but I'm sure you would get used to this over time. What am I complaining about? Well, this right now controls my HVAC system, but if I hit this button right here, now it controls my volume and my tuning. So volume, tuning, now dual zone climate control, and now back to volume and tuning. It is never on the screen I want it to be on. Yes, I know I have volume controls here on the steering wheel. Yes, I know there are other ways to interface with this. I am just saying, every time I get in a Kia product that has this screen, it is never on what I want it on when I reach down to turn this dial. So imagine with the 34-degree temperature outside, if the volume is too loud and I go to turn this, well, now it's going to be freezing in here instead of nice, warm, and toasty. So just to say, it's not my favorite. I like a good knob for volume and tuning, but I don't like having to toggle in between different things. Anyway, rant over. Moving down here, you can see we have heated and ventilated front seats. So there's your heat. There's your ventilation. To turn it up and down, you just keep pressing it in the direction of whatever it is that you are currently using. Down here we have USB-C ports for interface with the screen here if you want it, or for power. You can see this one is for power or for data transmission. So I've currently got one of my GoPros plugged in to charge it up, but this one's just for power. You can see now I've awoken it. So there it is over right there. And then we have a Qi wireless charger down here. It's all rubberized, no more panel to cover this. And then we've got a couple of cup holders right here, a little bit of storage right here, a little bit of storage right here. And then we've got some buttons down here as opposed to up here. So no physical buttons here, but we still have quite a few buttons down here. You have your engine start stop, your parking cameras, which I really like the camera system here in this one. Very clear and easy to read. You can see in front of and behind you multiple different views that you can look at, your front wheels, your back wheels. It is like a General Motors product. You have a lot of options, but better than a General Motors product is this. You can actually pan around a digital version of your vehicle. Unfortunately, Kia doesn't allow you to customize this to look like your vehicle, so those wheels aren't right, the window trim isn't right, the color isn't right, the overall trim isn't right, but you get the general idea. And the fact that it stitches together images from all the cameras around it so quickly and allows me just to quickly pan around it like that. The compute power there is quite impressive. So I really do like that. It is also triggered when you put the 8-speed wet dual clutch into reverse, and you can see we do get trajectory lines there. I told you this has a center locking differential, and you can see multiple different drive modes: Eco, Sport, Smart, Normal, and Snow. Snow might come in handy if we ever get any precipitation, but we have 70 degrees in the forecast, so who really knows here in January in East Texas. Smart actually learns how you drive and kind of blends all of these drive modes together. Heated steering wheel, auto hold for your brake in traffic, electronic parking brake, and downhill descent control. We do have a little bit of storage here, great for makeup or a phone. And then you have more storage underneath here with a removable plastic tray. Also, more storage here in the glove box. It is damped but not lined with felt. So if you put anything hard plastic in there, it may rattle around on you. Moving up further, I already showed you the rear view camera mirror. And then here are all of your controls for your panoramic glass roof, which gives you tons of light in here. It is an overcast day. It is just January in East Texas. But you can see very large panoramic roof over both the first and second rows here. So plenty of sky light coming in through the Sorento and complementing this olive brown leather seats. Very nice, light, airy interior in this one. Now let's pop into the back two rows and see what this is like for other passengers. So I mentioned no proximity quick access on these door handles back here, but when you do open the doors, they open up nice and wide for putting in child safety seats. We'll be putting tuckers in both the second and third rows. If you follow along and subscribe to our channel, you'll see our family review when that drops. You can see a repeat of all the same materials and design themes back here on the back door. We get some storage up here, bottle storage down there, cup holder built in right there, built-in sunshades right here. So a lot of really nice amenities. And then this button right here, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. 2-stage heated captain's chairs here in this one. So yes, I did say it was a 6-seater, 222 going all the way back, but we get a repeat of the seat design back here in the back with armrests. I'm going to go ahead and climb in because again, it is nearly freezing outside and this Texan is not built for that. You can see we get some map pockets on the backs of both seats here. We get some USB-C power on the backs of both seats here, which I really like. We get some air vents on the back of the center console. Moving down, we get some power down here. So we get a household style 3-prong plug here. Then we get a cigarette lighter style plug down here. So 4 different power points for rear seat passengers, which I really like here in this vehicle. And then we get some additional storage, great for storing your cell phone. I'll get my words out here in just a moment, but yeah, you can put a cell phone in there very nicely and store it as you're traveling down the road. And then I really do like the placement of these cup holders here in the doors. Coming to me, my 5'10" head is hitting the ultra suede headliner here because this seat is currently in its most upright position, though they do recline very nicely, so I could get very comfortable, though I think this would be more of my riding position. And then I mentioned it earlier, but we do have adjustable armrests here that do ratchet into multiple different places. So you can get very comfortable back here. But I really do like these seats. They are very comfortable. I like the addition of the heat for rear seat passengers. It is a very nice, luxurious interior. And did I mention the micro suede headliner? Very nice. And you can see still plenty of skylight up above me, and with the seat reclined, yeah, headroom isn't as much of an issue. I also really like the door handles on all four doors, make it really easy to get in and open them very nicely. So I do like that a whole lot. To get into the third row, you could, in theory, climb through the middle there because we do have a nice pass through. You can hit that button right there and fold the seat flat, or you can hit this button right here over the shoulder of the passenger, which does slide the seat forward. It is spring-loaded, so it will start moving fairly quickly on you, and it leans the seat back forward just a little bit. Unfortunately, with a car seat locked in place like we do have right there, this option is not available to you. So if you have car seats in both seats, trying to get into the back, well, yes, you are going to be going through the center pass-through. Before we climb in back here, I do want to mention we have lower latch points in both positions back here in the back seat. And then those folding headrests that you saw me put up earlier as I pulled the seats up, well, yes, they're in their upright position. But let's see what it's like climbing in back here. And then getting in to the back. You can see now I do have access to the buttons back here. I also have power right there. I have USB-C power right there. I've got a little bit of storage right here with a cup holder. A decent rear window. It's a little claustrophobic back here, but your seat belts are built into the side here. And still nice seats, though they aren't heated. And it wouldn't surprise me if these are not particularly leather seats. They may be their Syntax faux seating, but it does match the same color and not design, so we don't have the same stitch pattern back here. Coming to me, I referenced the head placement earlier when we were back in the back, and yes, there isn't much room for my head back here. So this is a bonus seat at best, an emergency bonus seat. You can also see that my knees are way up because I am sitting very low to the floor here. Just some things that make this more of a bonus seat. I'd say the Sorento competes more against the traditional Highlander, while the Telluride competes more against something like the Grand Highlander from Toyota, just to give you some reference of who this is going after and going for. And then I get the same storage here and cup holders here, power right there as on the other side. I will go ahead and show you that I can put my feet here between the rails, but I do have a little bit of a bump right here for my heel. So it's an interesting foot situation as I go to pull the seat back here in front of me. But I can go ahead and reach, pull it all the way back. All right, there, the seat is now all the way back, but yep, I'm gonna have to be quick with this. So that is all the way back and fully upright. You can see my knees aren't touching it, but there will definitely be some negotiations between second and third row passengers, but it can absolutely be done that you get 3 rows of adults in this one. I'm just a little concerned about my head placement. And then if I need to get back out, I can just push that button again, and you can see how quickly that thing slides up out of the way. But that's enough of a tour of the inside. Let's talk about how this drives and how it's held up over nearly 15,000 miles. I will go ahead and apologize now that we're sitting inside that we are losing some of our lighting throughout the rest of this drive portion. But that's just winter, I guess, and I cannot wait for the days to get longer and warmer. But while we're in here, I did say I would show you Apple CarPlay on this screen. You can see it is very nice, and I can go back to my Kia screen from there, but really do like this big 12.3-inch screen right here for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And I really do like all the amenities here and the added visibility of my blind spot cameras when I put blinkers on in either direction. Putting this thing in gear though and setting off, I will remind you that yes, this is actually a 2024 model that has seen nearly 15,000 miles of, I would assume, hard life. We as journalists pass these vehicles around and test them hard. We accelerate test them. We take them off-road and see what they're capable of. We perhaps treat these worse than rental vehicles, so keep that in mind as we go throughout this one. I do want to go ahead and put this in sport mode because thanks to our partners at Racebox, we're going to see what this is like 0 to 60 in a few different runs. We're actually going to test it 3 different times throughout this video. Once here at the beginning, then a couple times closer to the end. We'll go ahead and come to a complete stop here. Put my foot firmly on the brake. I did say I am in sport mode. Floor the accelerator, drop the brake, and off we go. Fairly quick, fairly responsive. I really do like this 8-speed wet dual clutch automatic transmission, but 6 seconds flat in this. I am impressed. And now I guess is a really good time to talk about this 2.5 liter turbocharged 4. I like it. I like it a lot. And Hyundai and Kia, Genesis, they need to put it in more vehicles. Really, it's just a handful of vehicles that you can get the 2.5 turbo in. The last vehicle we sampled it in was Hyundai's little trucklet in the Santa Cruz XRT. I liked it in that. I like it in this. I do believe it's better than GM's 2.5 liter turbocharged 4 that we've tested in the Buick Enclave, GMC Acadia, and Chevy Traverse. I really do like it a whole lot better. It sounds better, it's more peppy and responsive, and yes, some of that can be due to the fact that we have this 8-speed wet dual clutch. I mentioned a lot of my colleagues not having a lot of off-road success with this 8-speed wet dual clutch automatic transmission, but it is a very sporty, athletic transmission on the road. So while that may go against the off-road character and nature of this X Pro version, I'd say it makes for a very fun and enjoyable driving experience in a 3-row crossover in day-to-day life. And really, the day-to-day driving experience of this one doesn't differ too much from the last 2 X lines that we tested in the 23 and 22 year models previously that we've lived with here on the channel. Everything I liked about those, I like here. The only major change to an overall driving perspective is the 17-inch wheels and all-terrain tires on this particular model. We do get a little more road noise, especially here on this highly textured pavement here in East Texas. But yeah, we don't get a lot of changes to our overall driving character and nature other than those wheels and tires being different than the prior generations. The looks are different, some of the interior packaging is different, but I generally like this vehicle. I have liked it every time we've sampled and tested it. It rides well, the suspension is well damped, not a lot of body roll here through corners, but yes, there is some. We are in an SUV with a softer off-road tuned suspension. You can opt for a skid plate in this one, so that is something to add to your mind. With those 8.2 inches of ground clearance and the 18-ish degrees of approach angle, you're going to want to protect that underside up front. This does compete against the likes of the Honda Pilot Trail Sport that we've tested here on the channel, though that Pilot Trail Sport is a little bit bigger and heavier than there is the off-road system. I feel Honda's four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive management system and their Pilot may be a little bit better than this. Again, not sampling either of them really heavily off-road because, well, my off-road testing grounds have degraded to where they're really putting some heavy-duty off-road vehicles to work out there. So Sadly, I cannot test, off-road test these crossovers to the same degree that I really want to and feel like they deserve to be tested. Now, let's talk about livability of this one long term. I don't typically get high mileage test vehicles, and I am probably one of the last journalists to get to test this particular vehicle, this exact one, given that we have nearly 15,000 miles on the odometer. There are some wear and tear items that I do want to bring to note. There is something loose in the dash here that I can hear moving around as I turn from left to right. I also get some creaks from the rear hatch back behind me, letting me know that yes, this one probably has been severely off-road tested, and the body has flexed and twisted a little bit, giving that rear hatch some creaks and moans as I go up and down my 13-degree incline driveway at home and some various other driving situations. So just some wear and tear items that I have noticed in this one. Otherwise, I still feel the powertrain is as responsive as I would like it to be. I feel like it's even more broken in given our 6-second flat 0 to 60 run earlier. That truly is impressive. I'm shocked. It is 34 degrees outside. We're a few hundred feet above sea level, so figure that in to your testing as well, your thought process. I keep losing suction cups. My goodness, who's next? As we pilot this around corners, yes, like I said, this really is aimed more towards soft roading than speed driving, but it is still a very comfortable vehicle to drive around corners and to have a little fun with, given its powerful, responsive engine. I've been impressed with this one. I would gladly own a Sorento, though I am curious now of some of the wear items in this one. But again, keep in mind, this has lived a rough life as a test vehicle, so very curious how one would live with you behind the wheel for the 15,000 miles that we have on this one so far, or even with me behind the wheel. I generally take care of my vehicles. I don't torture test them like I feel like this one has been through. Yeah, the steering is light, but not too light that you feel like you had to drive with your fingertips. It is a very good driving experience all the way around. And then to know that you can venture off-road because you've got capable tires and all-wheel drive traction is a nice bonus. All right, as we come to the end of our test loop here, I'm gonna do a more traditional acceleration test. I'm in normal mode, and I'm just gonna go from my brake to my accelerator. Ready, set, here we go. Man, when that transmission and the turbo kicks in, this thing is rather quick. 6.47 seconds, and that's even having to deal with the engine start-stop needing to kick in before we could set off. I'm impressed with this powertrain. All right, last run, we're going slightly downhill. I'm gonna leave it in normal mode because I had some camera issues on that last run. So slightly downhill, normal mode, no brake torque. We're gonna see what this is like 0 to 60 in a more real life scenario. So full stop, firm on the brake. I'm just gonna move over to the accelerator, but I am gonna turn my engine start stop off. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, off we go. My goodness, this thing is very quick. And the transmission is quick to row through the gears. 6.19 seconds. No brake torquing and in normal mode. I'm impressed. I really do like this 2.5 liter Turbo 4, this wet 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. I've not felt the transmission shift in my time with this vehicle. It is smooth, it is direct, it is to the point. It never really leaves me wanting. I do have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. I can slap it over into manual mode over here, but I don't really feel like it needs it. It's generally where I want it, when I want it to be there. And for that, I really do applaud Kia engineers. My only thoughts on this one after nearly 15,000 miles on the odometer is I am a little bit curious of long-term wear and tear. Given that I don't know how this one has lived its life, but guessing that it's probably lived a tough test mule life, I'm going to give some credit to the longevity and say that this is probably a one-off. The little rattle I get here in the dash and the creaking of that rear cargo hatch. Otherwise, I am very pleased with this vehicle. It's quick, responsive, fun to drive, looks good, has all the amenities I want, and at a price tag that does not break the bank, I'd say this is a very good package overall. If you want to see what my family thinks of it, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when future videos drop from us, including our family review, where I installed Tucker's child safety seat and Holly is behind the wheel here. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, here in the 2024 Kia Sorento, though nothing's changed but the price for 2025. Until next time, gearheads.